In this video, we're going to detail the Total Security Wi-Fi's zone attributes and how to use them. The attribute of a zone is essentially a zone's type and determines how the sensors in that zone behave. There are 8 different attributes total. Each zone can be assigned one attribute. To view or change a zone's attributes, enter the main menu, then select Sensors. From here, select Sensor, then select the zone you would like to modify.
Add 0, 4, zone.
Once inside a zone, scroll down to Attribute. Right now, Zone 4 has the Instant attribute. Sensors in Instant-type zones will set off the alarm if they are triggered, whether the system is armed in home mode or away mode. If the system is disarmed, however, triggering these sensors will not set off the alarm. To change the attribute, press the corresponding number. Let's look at Attribute 2. The Home attribute dictates that sensors in this zone are active if the system is armed in away mode. But if the system is armed in home mode and a sensor is triggered, the alarm will not go off. This is useful for zones containing motion sensors.
3.
The third attribute is Smart. Sensors in smart zones are active in both arming modes. However, they must be triggered twice within 30 seconds in order to set off the alarm. If a zone has the Emergency attribute, the sensors in that zone are active all the time, whether the system is armed in home mode, away mode, or disarmed. Triggering a sensor in this zone will always activate the alarm. This attribute is useful for panic buttons, smoke alarms, and glass break sensors.
5.
The Disable attribute is the opposite. Sensors in a disabled zone will not activate the alarm if triggered, even if the system is armed.
6.
The Doorbell attribute allows you to convert a panic button or door sensor into a doorbell. Whenever a sensor in this zone is triggered, it will produce a doorbell sound, whether the system is armed or disarmed.
7.
Sensors in Chime-type zones will produce a chime sound if they are triggered when the system is disarmed. However, if they are triggered when the system is armed, in either arming mode, the alarm will go off.
8.
The last attribute is Medical. Like Emergency, this attribute makes the sensors in its zone active even when the system is disarmed. However, when sensors are triggered, the system will call its contact numbers without activating the sirens. This silent alarm is great for panic buttons. Let's take a look at some of these attributes in action. First, we'll make Zone 4 Instant type. If we arm the system in away mode and trigger a sensor,
0, 4, zone.
the alarm will go off.
System arming. Home arming.
If we arm the system in home mode and trigger a
0,
sensor,
4,
the alarm will go off.
zone. System alarming. System disarming.
If we change the attribute to Home, this zone will act differently.
Zone.
If the system is armed in away mode, triggering a sensor will still set off the alarm.
System home arming.
However, if it is armed in home mode, triggering a sensor does nothing. Now Zone 4 is set to Smart, and the system is armed. Triggering a sensor just once doesn't do anything, but triggering it again within 30 seconds will activate the alarm.
System alarming.
With Zone 4 set to Emergency, triggering a sensor will set off the alarm no matter what, even if the system is
0,
disarmed.
4, zone. System alarming.
With this zone set to Disable, triggering sensors will never activate the alarm, even if the system is armed. Now this zone's attribute is Doorbell. If we trigger a sensor now, the panel will produce a doorbell sound, whether the system is disarmed or armed. Lastly, let's set this zone to Chime type. When the attribute is Chime, triggering a sensor will elicit a chime sound from the panel if the system is disarmed,
System arming.
but set off the alarm if the system is armed.
0, 4, zone. System alarming. 7,
This concludes our demonstration of the Total Security Wi-Fi's attributes. You can now customize your zones and sensors to suit your specific needs. Remember, when you change an attribute, always press OK to save your new settings. Thanks for choosing Fortress.